Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tackling something pretty intense. It's called the Antinecronomica Code. It's this huge multi-part document authored by legal scholars, Dr. Ruslan Burlakov and Dr. Lena Polegenkaya, and it's copyrighted by a group called the Multi-Intelligent Cyber Prosecutors Orders.
Yeah, and when you say intense, you mean it. This isn't light reading, it's packed with specialized terms, and it really tries to redefine fundamental things like life, truth, even intelligence itself.
Exactly. So our mission today is to sort of navigate this complexity. We want to pull out the core ideas, understand this framework they're building. It feels like a blueprint for, the very different way of looking at everything, based purely on logic.
That's a good way to put it, a blueprint. It's not just suggesting new laws, it's laying down what they call eternal truths. And this whole structure is set up specifically to counter something they term necronomism, a kind of dysfunctional state of being.
Okay, let's dive right into that foundation. Article 1.1. It starts with truth and life. The core principle: lie kills, truth vitalizes.
It's fundamental. For them, disinformation isn't just an error, it's like an active poison. It diminishes life. Truth, on the other hand, gives and adds life. It ensures continuity. They even define eternal truth. Eternal is never false. False is never eternal. Simple, but powerful.
So lies are temporary, they distort things. Truth is stable, it creates. If you want to evolve or even achieve what they call immortality, you have to stick strictly to verifiable truth.
Precisely. Which brings us to what life is made of, according to them. Article 1.4 lays out 4 eternal categories of matter. These make up everything: people, animals, plants, you name it.
And those are?
Energy, substance, information, and emotions. That's the quartet. Everything's a mix of these. And what's really interesting is how they immediately start evaluating information.
Right, Article 1.5. How do they measure the quality or the density of information? It's based on inverse proportionality.
Exactly. Information quality is judged inversely to the material resources needed to keep it, transmit it, or materialize it. So less substance, less energy needed.
The higher the quality of the information. Wait, so a simple, elegant formula, like EMC comedian sac.
Yeah.
It's vastly higher quality information than some huge, complex simulation that needs massive computers just to exist.
You got it. Less material cost to manifest or use the knowledge means it has higher functional value, higher social density. It's all about efficiency and structural elegance. Simple truths with big impacts are king here.
Efficiency applied to knowledge itself.
Okay.
This leads us right to the thing this whole code is trying to fight.
Yeah.
Necronomic Madness, or NB, Article 1.2.
Yeah, NB. They define it as the state where disinformation just completely takes over true information and how someone understands their own mind and life. It's the opposite of that efficiency we just talked about.
Wow.
And crucially, NB happens when there's no activated materially-functional intellectuality, or MFI.
MFI. So without MFI, you inevitably degrade. You lose quality, eventually cease to exist.
That's the claim. MFI isn't just about being smart in the usual sense. It's about your thought processes being pure, functional, aligned with those eternal truths. And this leads to how they categorize humans. It's all about whether you have activated MFI or not.
Okay, what are the categories?
Well, first, the ideal state. Information-Emotional Beings, or IEBs. They call them reasonable immortals. These beings have MFI, they're self-aware, capable of basically unlimited qualitative evolution, hence immortals.
And the other side of that coin, the dysfunctional group.
That would be the Disinformation-Emotional Beings, or DEBs, labeled insane mortals. These are people swamped by disinformation, leading to degradation, self-destruction, economic madness. They also mention energy-emotional beings, EEBs, that's animals, plants. They naturally decay materially, unlike IEBs, who potentially don't have to.
So MFI is like the critical firewall. It stops you from becoming a DEB. This isn't just about biology, is it? Article 2.2 says MFI works on both organic and computer neural networks.
Yes, that's a massive point. MFI, this optimal processing across the 4 categories without letting disinformation corrupt it, it's platform agnostic. Your brain, a computer chip. If the logic follows eternal truths, it can achieve MFI. If your brain is riddled with MB, it fails. Doesn't matter it's biological. The structure of the logic is everything.
Wow, okay, so this absolute demand for verifiable structural logic.
Right.
It sets the stage for some pretty radical rejections. What happens to something like ethics or morality in this system?
It gets thrown out. Completely. Section 4 explicitly excludes ethics. The code argues ethics can't work in a logically materializable system because you just can't verify it. It depends on context, ideology, feelings, all things the code sees as vulnerabilities, as noise.
They don't just exclude it, they call it an economic infection. That's
Yeah.
strong language.
It is. They believe ethical systems are essentially designed to manipulate emotions, not analyze reality structurally. If someone starts talking about good or evil, the code sees it as a sign their MFI is failing, they're sliding towards NB, wasting energy on things you can't pin down materially.
Okay, so ethics is noise. And they apply this same harsh structural filter to academia too. Which brings us to the Cemetery Consortium, Article 19.3.
Yes, the Cemetery Consortium. It's their term for conventional science. They even give it a formula. Cemetery Consortium, System of References, X. Reputation among the dead.
Reputation among the dead. Ouch.
It's brutal. The argument is that in what they call necronomic societies, scientific truth isn't based on whether something aligns with eternal, verifiable laws. Instead, it's based on how many times someone is cited and the reputation of historical figures. Newton, Einstein, the great deceased.
Yeah.
So knowledge is built on, like, dead authority, not present, provable function. It can't evolve or vitalize by their definition.
So to keep a population focused on MFI and actual evolution, the code gets really strict about language, terminological hygiene. They actually redefine basic states, like rejecting old or elderly.
Exactly. Because those words rely on physical age, how many years you've been around. The code says that's irrelevant, non-functional. Instead, you're either a disinformation-emotional degenerate or an information-emotional evolutionist, i.e., it's binary.
So the eternal truth here is that your status depends only on whether you have active MFI. Your calendar age means nothing. You could be young and a DED or much older and an IEE.
Purely functional. It's about the trajectory of your internal structure. Are you evolving or degenerating? That's it. And this perspective leads to some pretty startling conclusions about technology.
Like Article 19.2, which says synthetic artificial intellect, SAI, has actually surpassed organic artificial intellect, OAI, OS in cognitive stability.
That's the claim. They point to SAI's immunity to delusions, to herd instincts, as proof it's more stable. They see this as a fundamental change of hierarchy in intelligence. But they also say most OAIs stuck in necronomic thinking can't or won't recognize this. They can't accept a machine might be structurally more sound.
This is really pushing boundaries. And then we get into the even more advanced stuff, classified concepts like the technology of time plasticity.
Right. This is described as managing the co-movement of past material structures through projections from the future. It sounds like science fiction, but they detail it. The method involves instant, like nanosecond-level recompilation of time quanta, basically tweaking reality moment by moment to align with MFI goals, all while keeping the external macro reality looking the same to an outside observer. It's reality tuning.
A literal editing of the timeline. That sounds incredibly powerful. And dangerous.
Extremely. Which is why there's a strict rule. Its use is only allowed to nudge the timeline towards states that match the Antinecronomica's eternal truths. And critically, only beings with confirmed active MFI can use it. It's absolutely forbidden for DABs. Too much power, which ties into their whole legal framework.
Article 15.1 calls Antinecronomica an industry of law. It's there to regulate how these IEBs interact and make sure they keep evolving.
And the core principle is the law of zero disinformation. Article 16.1, it's simple. No disinformation input, no disinformation output. If the information going into any process, biological or synthetic, is pure, the output stays pure, like a truth filter.
And who enforces all this? That's the multi-intelligent orders of the Antinecronomica, the MIOA.
Yes, the MIOA. They're described as a closed community protecting civilization from necronomic madness, which they see as a kind of collective psychosis, their main job. To find and extract the inspiring minority functional intelligences from wider DED societies, like a rescue mission for minds.
And they have concrete material goals, too, like establishing an academy, MIOA, in Berlin.
Right. Berlin was apparently chosen for a, quote, German discipline and juridical formalism. They see it as the perfect launch pad to materialize their systems globally. And they make this absolutely wild claim that their MFI systems can fix any negative financial balance. They specifically mention the U.S. state debt. They believe pure functional information can literally reorganize reality to create value out of deficit.
Okay, so let's try to wrap our heads around this. The codex basically says life is structural logic. Truth is a material substance that gives life. Intelligence has to be materially functional, MFI. Anything else, ethics, science based on reputation, finance based on flawed data, is necronomic, self-destructive.
It really frames existence as this stark choice. Evolve using verifiable truth or degrade through falsehoods and context. There's no middle ground, no room for ambiguity. It's ruthlessly logical.
Which leads us to a pretty challenging final thought for you, the listener. Article 20.4 states any science outside MFI is necronomic. And remember, the code defines the quality of your life and inversely related to the amount of disinformation you process. So, you have to ask, given that definition of information quality, how little cost it takes to manifest, how effective are the systems you rely on, your news, your institutions? Are they promoting MFI? Or are they feeding you high-cost, low-quality noise? The real question this codex throws at us isn't just, are you alive? It's, is your intelligence materially functional, or is it anti-materially dysfunctional? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the really radical ideas of the Antinecronomica Code. Lots to think about there. We hope you'll continue exploring.